Well, so that I get this on here, this is really what matters. I'm going to wonder if, and somebody can let me know because I'm going to call today if I make it. Oh, without giving background again, I run out of video and I'm getting up. I'm here in the morning. I don't think anybody can hear me where I'm at, but I don't want to wake anybody up since I'm on the bad time because I wrote about murders and mind control and found out I was kidnapped and all this is on. Larry Flint flew me out there and did an article and helped me in a political campaign. It's all I'm going to say on here. I can't get it on it. I'm allergic to chemicals. I've been deliberately made homeless. Oh, I can't get an attorney. The law enforcement's involved in it. The FBI sent me a letter June the 23rd, 79, and I thought it was about the book I wrote about mind control and doctors, Larry McDonald, congressman, doctor at Piedmont Hospital, who later his plane went down. It shot down the KAL. And from Juneau, Alaska to Seoul, South Korea, August the 31st of 83. And that's when I was flown out to Flint, and he actually said I knew who was responsible for his shooting. What I want to make here, though, is this point. I'm allergic to chemicals, and I have been deliberately run from motel to, I even had Section 8. None of this should have happened to me. At one point in time when I was kidnapped, I would have been the wealthiest woman in the world probably. I'm sure of that. And all the laws that ensued, I didn't find that out till 83 about my kidnapping and who my parents are and who I am. So this has been done like an April Fool joke when they put the antifreeze in me and I should have died after I'd done this book. And this has been written up. Everybody knows about it. The media, they won't touch it. The Illuminati, the New World Order had kidnapped me and my own uncle. So I put all this on, and this is the point I want to make now. I had no income for a long time, couldn't get jobs except for a few live-ins. And it was so rough. But the point, I lived on the Appalachian Trail and starved and froze and you name it. The point is that when I got a little money, it's deposited into like I'm just going to say this, it's Social Security check. It's all I've ever had. I've had to live off of the last years. And I don't use the account for anything but to deposit it and to draw it out immediately. And now then, the circumstances, since the feds have power over the local law enforcement or state, and they can get things on them, and they will prosecute them to get their participation. In return, they go out and get where people have broken the law, and in return for them helping in what's being done to me, their kids doesn't face whatever charges. You know what kids get into: drugs, driving, and internal revenue. The people that own and loans that are made to them. Oh, that's a good one. And they can become quite wealthy with small business loans, etc. Anyway, that's what I'm going to get into right now before this goes off again. And I'm sitting up here at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's been so desperate for me because I've starved and not had a place. And when I did, they run me with fumes. And I've put Carl Barton, the Virginia State Trooper, retired, his wife, on here August 14th of 09, where she actually said to me, this is how we run you with chemicals, make you move. So if that didn't make sense to you, they run me like a fox or something. Anyway, it tears your body down. My immune system attacks itself because I'm allergic to it. And the only way to get rid of it is if you can't get it out of where you're living, you have to move, plain and simple. So that's what they've done to me. And over the years, the inflammation has torn down my lungs and kidneys, and you name it, I can hardly walk. Point is that I've never used that card except once a couple of years ago. I already got to the place I was put in a situation where I had to run, and I got there, and they suddenly changed the rules. They said I had to have not just state ID that I had, but a debit card. So I ended up, because I was already there and running out of cab fare and all this, I'd walk most of the time. But anyway, I gave it to her, and she copied it and said that she just needed it there, no other reason than just needed it. So that was the only time I used it, and I got the copy back. But I know they can Xerox it, okay? But my point is, I say quality in here. It's owned by the same group of people. They've gotten so wealthy over the years. They own everything around here, motels, gas stations. Anyway, I stayed at Quality Inn for 14 months, and it was owned by Germans. And they didn't run it. They had a holding company. The point I'm making, I stayed there 14 years, paid the rent on time, everything. These people come in and bought it out and remodeled it, and they made my life a living hell. So I ran, and I literally ran, and that was March the 3rd of last year. My point is, the last place that I try to leave and answer to people's questions, Virginia. It doesn't work. I'm brought back here. Law enforcement reaches over boundaries, so you got it. Edward Snowden just touched the little bitty tip of the iceberg on all this. But anyway, where I was at this time out in Trout, they owned it. A family did, and lo and behold, they come in and start remodeling the whole thing there. I stayed from August until I just left 27th of December, and I had to leave. I was so sick, and I happened to call Quality Inn, and I asked them. I told her they changed most of the personnel. And I said I stayed there for 14 months. I want to see if I have any choice motel reward rooms, free nights, and she asked for some kind of credit card. I said, I don't have a credit card. I've never used one. I said, I have a debit, but I don't use it. It has no money on it. And she said, well, I don't. Well, I wouldn't have given it to her for that, but I explained it to her. And she said, well, I just want to get in your file. Well, I told her, I said, I don't know what that's got to do with choice or you because I don't use it. She said, well, it's the only way I can tell you. Well, I gave it to her, the number. So now then is where I'm going, since I've put it as kind of documenting things on YouTube and Facebook. It's been hacked, so I can't do that anymore. But so I called them first, Quality Inn, and she got the card number. So now I think, well, I'm sitting here with this card that's got all these privileges from Choice Motels. So I called them, and she said, well, you've got, I've forgotten. I thought, man, I've got a windfall. I could certainly use it. It's 20 days. And so it was my choice to go back into this Quality Inn because the remodeling was through. And I thought, well, it's paid for by Choice, so the reward day, so maybe they won't mistreat me, you know. Well, that was a joke. Anyway, Choice Motel sent me an email where it was confirmed, and I called to make sure Quality Inn. Now, this is where I called the first time, and they got the number over the phone to get into files to see if I had any reward, which they told me I didn't. So now I've called Choice, and I did have, and they made the reservation. So this should never have been a card used, period. Now then, when I get there, have my luggage and stuff, I have to pull my home with me, my few bits I keep together. So I check in, and they're rude as hell. It was awful what happened there, again. But she said to me, she said, I'm showing my bedroom, I guess, here. Lucky to have one, I suppose. But when I came in, and she was a black woman, this couple, three of them there, and they were mean as hell to me, too. To heck with rights for me. I've never had any. I was this bleeding heart. And after a while, when you're socked so many times, it's all bleeding out, you know. I was like John Lennon. I thought this world could just come together and everybody could be happy if. Well, John Lennon was one of the mind control. Mark David Chapman shot him and killed him, so that lets you know. But